If you haven't been punched in the face, like, how do you know, like, that the technique that you've been taught to not get punched in the face actually works or not?
So
you know, that's maybe that's the question.
that's actually a good question. So you do learn a lot when you get punched in the face. Like everything, though, this is why it's such a, I guess you could call it a toxic community, but it's also why people have to talk. This is why when I say, let's go do a live, let's talk about it. That's why I want to do it. I want to have this conversation so we could grind out the edges and figure out what's going on. Matt Pranka, I'm going to give him a shout out right now. That's what needs to be done. That's the kind of culture I came from. Is dudes would let you know if you were fucking up or if you weren't making sense, and everybody had their own brain and their own ideas. So it's like, that's what you need to do. You can't just, oh, he said this, so that's it. I'm going to take that to the bank, cash the check, and we're going to move on. Bro, you got to go pressure test it. You got to go figure it out. And then there's also a problem where your skills, where you live, and what you do might all be different for why he teaches what he teaches. You absolutely protect your family. You don't have to work in this environment and deal with it maybe on a higher scale where you got to deal with it more often. There's cops that have less of a chance of getting in a gunfight than you, and there's cops that almost inevitably will be in a gunfight. Same as the military, and the same as, like I said, civilians like yourself. We're all kind of the same at the end of the day, though. There's certain things that are absolutely the reason why we do it. We want to be good at the thing if it happens. If we don't know what we're going to do because something happened, or if you've never been in a bad situation, you just don't know. There's no special mindset talk you're going to have where someone's going to put you in that mindset and tell you, now you're able to be a gunfighter. You're going to defend your family. All I think you can do, and this is the bigger point of what I do, is train. Figure it out. Take all that information from all these different people and start figuring it out. Take a little bit from here, a little bit from here, see what works. Pressure test it. Put it on the range. But if you can't do the thing, like if it's boxing and you can't throw the punch, you're only going to get hit in a violent scenario or run away, whatever the case may be. You're not, no matter what cool moves you can do, no matter what tactics you can do, you can't finish the job, right? So with shooting or tactically, CQB through the house, whatever, active shooter, whatever the case may be, the end result, regardless of the rest of the shit that may happen, what do we know? Like my post of whatever versus what if? If you're capable of handling whatever because you have these foundational skills, you're able to handle it because your brain works and you're not freaking out inside your mind. Like, I got to put on my ego real quick and let this guy know I'm not scared, opposed to, I know I'm not scared. I know I'm capable. If he makes that move and grabs that gun and I think that person's life's in danger or my life's in danger, I'm going to make the thing that I do every single day to practice. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to nail it. That's my brain. Might not be everybody's, but that's how I feel. And it's because I did that type of training. Does that make sense?
Oh, I think it makes great sense. I love the what if or the whatever versus the what if. I've forgotten that I'd heard you say that, and sort of there was a really good explanation there. And there's been further, I think, discussion around that. And that's what I mean, again, going back to like you putting things in perspective for me in maybe a little bit different way. Like, oh, I hadn't thought of it that way. That makes better sense. So if that's happening to me, maybe it's happening to somebody else. Like, okay, so think about it this way instead of this way. Let's go back to the training part. And, you talked about, what you did was, again, you're on this call, they're asking, what do you need? You're saying, I think we need maybe a little bit more training. I'm sure it comes next, like, okay, well, where do we get that? How do we get that? What are the answers to those questions in your mind at that time? And then how were those received by, your employer and your team? And let's just say your peers.
Yeah. Well, I actually realized at that time, again, this is going back some time, I really didn't know. I didn't know where to go. We already had gone to like what I would call liability training, which is you have to qual, you have to pass the qual, which is the bar is here. Just a barrier of entry that says you're capable of carrying that gun. And the name the, fill in the blank, could say that you're, safe with the gun. You're capable of carrying that gun around, and you're not, whatever.
Yeah, notoriously one of the lowest metrics that you could be measured by, like in
Right.
kind of general, that a lot of people will agree on. Like there has to be something. It could be a lot better. It is what it is, and it's likely in most cases not very good. It's not every case, so I'm not saying that about everybody, but I'm gonna tell
Right.
you, the majority of the folks I talk to are like, dude, we could be doing way better than this. So anyway, that said, I get it. So
Yeah. Yeah.
low barrier of entry is what you're saying.
Yeah. 100%. I also understand the concept behind it too. It's like, it's the barrier of entry. Like, I think personally it should be higher, and then the new guys won't know better if you just make it harder. And this
Right.
is what
They'll
you got to
level
come
up.
to hear.
Yeah.
That's my personal opinion on that. But again, everywhere's different. There's some places that have rock solid quals, and there's some that suck, and some that are just atrocious. But that's when he asked that question. In my mind at that time, I was those people that I was watching and thinking they don't know how to handle a problem, because I thought I was a gunfighter based on, I passed the qual and I have a gun and they give me one to walk around with and I'm good to go. And then I had that like awakening where I was like, and it's because of my other background, I'm like, oh, I thought I was a fighter too until I walked to that gym. And I was young, but still, you thought you were a tough guy, no matter how old you were, at least where I come from. So I was like, oh, okay. And that journey went on until I was much older and found out about jujitsu. And those guys took me down and beat me up, And
Mhm.
those things kept happening and happening and happening. And now we're in the gunfighting realm. And I'm again standing here thinking, if that was to go hands on, I'm not scared at all. If he was to pull out a gun, I have my gun just in case. That was my brain.